everyone, Gaijin! What the heck is that?
She's next! Oh no! Get down!
Oh gosh.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah, just... What was that?
I think that was today's topic. Anything broken?
Everything's intact, you know. Almost like it was some kind of cheesy green screen effect.
That's surprising. I would figured at least your chair was gonna get obliterated by that thing.
Nah, this thing's tough. Real tough. I've been sitting on my C7M for about 7 hours a day for the last 5 months, and it still holds up solid. A bit dusty maybe, but that's on me.
Wait, are we doing a Flexispot integration this video?
Yeah, they've been supporting us all year, and all I gotta do is tell you about my favorite chair that I use every day, and how it's a supremely good chair. Especially compared to some of the old garbage gamer chairs I've tried to use. Like, seriously, look at this thing. Didn't even last 3 months before it started falling apart. But my C7M, yeah, that thing is so good. I got one for Aki too, and she's been enjoying it a lot. And that's despite the fact that I'm almost a foot taller than her. Because this chair, it's got more adjustability than any other chair I've seen. 3-dimensional headrest, height adjustable back fitting to your short or tall structure, insanely good integrated lumbar support, because let's face it gang, we all shrimp at our PCs. 5-dimensional armrest positioning, and a seat so big that even my giant thighs can fit in a cross-legged position, which I do often. Not to mention, the latex seat has so much memory foam and support you can sit on this thing for 12 hours a day without a lot of wear and tear on either it or your body. Best part is, you can sit as professionally or lazily as you want. With a strong upper backrest and aforementioned lumbar support, it'll keep you at a good posture to get work done. Or, you can pop out the leg rests, lean back, and binge watch while you recline like you're in a movie theater. So, while it may not shrug off explosions, if you want to get an actual, well-adjusted, well-made office chair that will last you literal years, hit on my link in the description and use the code C750 to get $50 off your purchase. I hear Flexispot released a brand new chair too for the most intense back support in their stock called the C7 Morpher. Might need to look into one of those for my old man back. But if you're on a limited budget, give their C5 chair a look. It's a bit more basic, but it's still got that solid quality. So yeah, check out our link, get your discount code, and don't forget there's a 30-day return policy and a 10-year warranty for every single chair. Alright, I'm gonna try to wrangle up that spontaneously exploding monkey. You got this one in the meantime?
Sure, man. Now, for those of you who haven't dumped over 100 hours into Monster Hunter Wilds, you might be asking, what the heck was that just now? Well, that's one of Wilds' new featured monsters, the Ajarakan. And no, we weren't joking calling this thing a spontaneously exploding monkey, because that's exactly what this thing is. The Ajarakan is a volatile baboon that has built-in biological blast functions that is 100% fueled by rage. As stated in its description, a fanged beast characterized by the flame-like protrusions that cover its back. A fanged beast that will scrape its claws against this metal-infused carapace to create red-hot, molten-like effect. But just look at the descriptors of this armor set that you make from this thing. Donning it will draw the fires from within to burst forth. The heat of its flames warns prey of their final immolation. Having as much ground-shaking power as their namesake. A tether to quell the wearer's exploding rage. A heat so fierce that each step makes the earth shudder in agony? Or how about the weapons you make from this thing, like the Ajara Panthaka, or the Ajara Twin Edges as it's called? Apoplectic, demonic, they will punish all who stand in their path. Plus, just look at how this thing fights. I know every monster fight has you pitted against a ticked-off titan, but this malevolent mandrill has both figurative and literal explosive temperament in a fight that is consistently surrounded by decimating fire and unceasing detonations. I mean, we naturally associate anger and rage with things like fire and explosions, right? Fiery temper? Explosive anger? So at this point, if you read the title of this video, you might be thinking we're a bit crazy to say that deep down the Ajarakan actually loves you. You know, despite being a rage-filled ape of apoplectic tendencies. Well, let's do a little side-by-side comparison here. Taking the look of the Ajarakan, like really get a good feel to how this thing looks and acts. Now, have a look at this. Oh, that's an angry fella. An angry fella completely surrounded by fire. You ever seen this guy before? Well, this is Akala, but in Japan is known as Fudo Myo-o. And for simplicity's sake, that's just the name I'm gonna call him going forward. I mean, just look at this list of alternate region names. I don't have the time or energy to be technically correct with every last iteration of his name, so we're just gonna go with the one that I know I'm not gonna constantly trip over my tongue over. But yeah, Fudo Myo-o. Boy, don't he look unhappy. And with the motif of swirling fire about him, I think there's a lot of folks out there that would consider him kinda demonic looking, right? Well, here's the funny thing about Fudo Myo-o. Now don't get me wrong, he is angry, furious even, filled with an explosive rage that would cow the spirits themselves, right? But his rage isn't focused on you. It's not even focused on humanity. At least not directly. No, Fudo Myo-o is enraged at the evils of the world. See, Fudo Myo-o is a pretty huge Buddhist deity. In fact, he's known as one of the 5 kings of wisdom in various Buddhist sects all over Asia. Yeah, I know these guys don't look like the most approachable folks, but do not let their furious demeanor fool you. These 5, and especially Fudo Myo-o, is watching out for humanity. He is the immovable, his wrath is unbridled, but his fury is focused. All focused is some of the great evils of Buddhism. To give a bit more backstory on this guy, there's actually a lot of theories going around with the cultural anthropologists of the world that Fudo Myo-o originated from Shiva, particularly Shiva's abilities of destruction, reincarnation, and wrath against evil. While that may not seem important right now, it's about to be. Anyway, regardless of origin, Fudo Myo-o is a highly respected, highly revered deity in a lot of Buddhist sects including Zen, Nichiren, Shingon, and Tendai, as well as having a pretty important place in Shugindo as well. And though he may take on many variations in appearance, as far as his typical appearance goes, there are 4 things that make him iconic. His wrathful gaze, his massive wreath of flame that circles his entire body, his sword in his right hand, and his cord in the left. The sword really isn't used for warfare, but rather used to cut through ignorance, as well as the ocean. Yeah, no joke. There was a tale in Japan about an 8th century monk who was coming back from China when a heavy storm and turbulent waters threatened to sink his ship. He feverishly prayed to Fudo Myo-o and claimed to have had a vision of the god cutting down the waves as they formed with his sword, calming the sea. While the cord, literally on the other hand, isn't just some piece of expensive jewelry, but rather a cord of binding used to hold fast the evils of temptation. And lastly, there's the constant wreath of fire around him. Now, we like to associate this kind of fire with heck, the underworld, and everything of the like, but these are not flames that burn humanity. They are the fires that burn away what the sword could not cut nor the cord restrain. It is a burning away of desires, attachments, and any and all of the great evils and poisons of Buddhism. And as those negative emotions and desires are burned away, there is only the true self, free from distractions and earthly desires, to transcend said desires and the suffering that comes with them to be spiritually free. Despite how utterly outraged Fudo Myo-o looks, he's an exceedingly benevolent deity, trying to protect humanity from everything that would drag it down on an emotional and spiritual level. Now then, you might be asking, how the heck does the hyper-violent explosive monkey come from this guy? Well, I mean, just look at the two. It's blatantly stated that Ajarakan's ridges not only resemble the appearance of fire, but it's also the catalyst to all the explosions that it invokes, incredibly similar to the fire that surrounds Fudo Myo-o. But if that isn't convincing enough, just look at the armor you make from the Ajarakan. A dark gray-skinned, angry-looking, muscular superhumanoid whose wreath in flames with a few bits of gold and jewels about the body. A look that is nearly one-to-one with many depictions of Fudo Myo-o. Side note, on the lower back of the armor set, there's also what appears to be a purba nestled. A Vajra weapon taking the shape of a nail or knife that's used in a great deal of rituals in Indo-Tibetan Buddhism. You know, just in case you weren't sure that this armor set isn't completely inspired from the religion. Still want more? 'Cause I gotcha! Usually a lot of cultural influence hints comes from the weapons that you can make from the various monster parts. But surprisingly, there aren't a lot of weapons that can be made from the Ajarakan's parts. Only 4 out of the 14 available weapons in the game. And 3 of them don't really have anything substantial to say except hinting at the Ajarakan's figurative and literal explosive temper. With one exception, the Ajara Bandra, aka the Ajara Trident. Now remember how I talked about how Fudo Myo-o came from Shiva? Well, the Trident is one of Shiva's personal symbolic weapons, also known as the Trishula or the Chishul, depending on your culture perspective. Shiva's Trident is an incredibly important symbol in various sects of Buddhism, representing many threes, such as knowledge, power, and will, ethics, meditation, and wisdom, control of mind, intellect, and ego. There's a lot of them, but it's consistent with the symbol of Shiva's trident. And have a look right down there at the weapon description. Divinely guided, the artisan thrice imbued it with hopes for salvation. Now, I know that's really cryptic, like, whose salvation are we talking about here? The creators? Or did the divinely guided artisan make the trident in hopes of the salvation of people? I like to think the latter, all things considered, as Buddhism itself is seen as a religion that looks to the salvation of all sentient beings. And while that isn't a direct connection to Fudo Myo-o specifically, just to his predecessor, this is a weapon in-game crafted from the parts of an Ajarakan, a very obvious deity weapon used to bring about the salvation of living things. If you'll humor me and allow me to make a stretch of an observation, Ajarakan in name sounds so similar to many of Fudo Myo-o's native Sanskrit names, such as Akala, Achala, Akalantha, Akalavajra. Like, I don't have any hard evidence to prove the fact, but I just can't escape how similar these names are. Finally, just like how despite the fact that Fudo Myo-o is a fearsome, enraged-looking god yet is loved by tens of thousands of people, Ajarakan, despite being a fearsome, enraged monster that causes us to explode, has an incredibly strong support base from fans. Like, look at this tweet. 13,000 likes on the community post on Twitter. Granted, some of them might just be there for JoJo memes, but regardless, people seem to really love Ajarakan. Oh, and what's this up here? Oh, see, even the devs say that the Ajarakan is based off of a, quote, spirit of legend often seen in Japan. I don't know about you all, but that kind of seals the deal for me. So is Ajarakan really trying to smash and explode players out of a feverish rage? I don't know, man. Anyone ever bother asking Ajarakan what he's so mad about? Maybe he's trying to keep us from doing something awful, like culling entire species out of a natural habitat, but it's just my theory anyway. But thanks for watching, everyone. Again, if you need a real, long-lasting, insanely comfortable office chair, look no further than FlexiSpot. Hit up our link in the description and use the code C750 to get 50 bucks off your purchase. And as always, a huge thank you to our patrons who keep Witch Ninja, Yokai Hunters, Witch Samurai, just all of our videos and series alive. We say it all the time, but we really do mean it. You make the absolute difference in our ability to keep making these videos. But if you want to learn even more about the world through your favorite anime, games, movies, and more, sub up, get notified, and until next time, everyone, this is Gaijin Goombah, signing out.